Hello, guys. Welcome to this episode of the Pursuing Horizons podcast. Today, we are joined by Simon, or otherwise known as Goliath, and we're talking about his full journey from DJing to quitting his job and
Busted.
committing an entire year towards fitness, and then winning summer shredding. So, wild story. But first of all, man, we are thrilled to have you here. So, thank you for making the time. And we're stoked to have this combo with you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
And I wasn't trying to put you in the hot spot either about the DJ stuff. We can totally skim over that. But that's, I think relevant information to your lore because that's also really
Yeah,
cool.
and it's welcomed here, man.
I mean, like, it played a big part in, like, I guess, like, kickstarting the before part of my weight loss. So, like, it is important, but more so, like, an overarching view of the DJing and that life leading into getting sick, essentially.
Yeah. So let's get right into it then. Let's talk about like that whole process for you. Let's talk about what made you want to get into fitness and make that change. And I feel like that's relevant to the DJing that you were doing too, right?
I mean, okay, so, oh God. So, the thing is, I feel like I've lived a lot of lives. Um, and like very few people know like every aspect of it because like yes there was DJing, but before that, like, and I guess during my DJing I was actually in school because I did my paramedics, my RPN, and then my RN while I was DJing, right? And then like and here is where the DJing really took over because I wrote my NCLEX, which is the national licensing exam to become a nurse, and I never actually really looked at my results. So to this day I have no fucking clue if I passed or not, or if I'm a nurse or not. So I was like
That's
sick.
so that's so wild.
Is because I had the opportunity. There was this billionaire family in Boca Raton, Miami, and they were like, "Hey, you want to come live with us, and we'll try to like get you like started out here." And that was obviously after I had found some success in Canada. Like I had played with like Marshmallow at Stampede and all the other like escapades, Ever After, like all those big like music festivals. So when he heard about all that, that's when I went down to Miami, and that's when I like did fairly well there, and I set up my first big tour, and it was during that tour actually that I jumped off. Okay, so I was playing at University of Toronto, but like not that one, but there's a few universities around Toronto. Is that one of them? I don't remember the exact name.
Yeah, like Ryerson, York, like all that, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So I jumped off the stage because it was like, it was a big party, a big drop coming, and like you jump off the stage, go party with the people. Like, I mean, you would understand that. Um, and I felt just like a little pain in my stomach, but nothing too bad, right? So kept playing the rest of my set, and at the end, my stage manager comes on stage and he's like, "Bro, what the fuck is going on?" And I didn't really understand what was happening. He's like, "Look down. There's blood all over the stage." And that's when I found out that I ruptured my colon.
Oh,
Yeah, and okay, so and now let's think about that timing, right? So like whatever, I was in Toronto, flew back to Calgary because that's where my parents were. I was like, I should probably go back with my parents when I have to go to the hospital, get surgery and stuff because I'll probably need some help afterwards. And well, I was in the hospital from March 2020, and who remembers what happened in March 2020? The world
2 months
shut
after
down,
Kobe died.
or the start of COVID. Like that's when the world shut down. So I was in the hospital from March all the way to October, so 7 months. And when I came out, that's when I made that decision of like, hey, fuck, I have to like I have to take a grip of my life because I'm gonna die if I keep going like this. So that's when I started my media company. Right, so there's a lot that happened in between, like just going from like DJing to weight loss, but like that's what all started because that's when I got diagnosed with Crohn's disease. So fast forward all that, I do the media company for a while. That's going decent at best. Like I like it, I don't love it, and I start like essentially filming for athletes. So I'm shooting for like World's Strongest Man. I'm shooting for the Arnolds, and I was doing like the strongman side of things. And it was like through all this that like I hit this low point in my life where I was like, everything sucks and I kind of just want to die. Like I didn't care if I'd like lived or died like the next day. Like when you get to that place of just like not necessarily like full on depression and like SI. I'm sure you guys know what that is. Yeah, but
Yeah,
like
buddy.
but more so just like I didn't really care if the next day came. And then on a random whim, my little brother, right before Christmas, asked me if I want to go to Colombia. And I mean, I'm broke at this point. I have no real money, but I'm like, fuck it. Like, who cares at this point? Like, I don't care. So we go down to Colombia, and then one thing led to another. My like nursing instincts kind of kick in. I'm like, wait, I'm so depressed and everything sucks. Let's go get a blood test. So I got a full panel done. That's when I realized that I have the testosterone levels of a female. Huh. Interesting. I was at 70 nanogram per deciliter. So I was like, oh,
Man.
that's low. Like crazy. And I keeping in mind throughout all these years I keep getting fatter. So I get my my test tested, and then I start, and it's funny because in Colombia you just order testosterone off Uber Eats. So
Crazy.
so I get like a vial of testosterone delivered. I order some needles and some syringes, and I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna start TRT today.
Little picture at the door just so they know they dropped you off, but it's like all the gear.
Right? Yeah,
see you when you're jacked.
yeah. You can order Deca on Uber Eats there, by the way. Just side note. Fun stuff. Yeah. So I start my testosterone, and it's like slowly, it's like this black and white picture that was my life starts turning into like a fucking color, like a color me inside the line books, where like slowly certain parts of it start getting better. And then there's like these little outside gyms in downtown Medellin. So I'm like, let's go to let's go to an outside gym and just kind of fuck around and see if it's any fun, like just like it used to be back in the day. So, and I enjoyed it, and then came back to Canada, and I got into strongman. Like I was filming those strongman athletes. It's like, fuck it, I'll give her a go. And very quickly got very strong. Like my deadlift went from like 375 to 680 in about like 3 months. It was like absurdly fast. Bench press was again like close to like 450 ish. Like it was going well. And then I was about to attempt my 700-pound deadlift, and I was keep in mind when you do this, I was gaining weight very quickly at that point because mass moves mass, right? So I'm getting all this weight, and then like I'm about like a week and a half, 2 weeks out. Like there was no solid plan for it, but I was gonna hit my 700-pound deadlift, and I was gonna be like really happy about that. And then I woke up one day, turned around in bed, and I'm like, why am I out of breath? Like, this sucks. Like, this can't be it. Like, life has to be better than this. And I texted my friend at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I have that text chain somewhere. And it's like, hey Martina, I'm coming back to Calgary tomorrow. Let's go to the gym, and I'm going to film something. I'm going to tell you something, and I just want to get it filmed. She's like, okay, cool. And then I told her, like, I'm going to do a bodybuilding show. And everything launched.
Dude.
Right. And I think there's a video on your Instagram where that's pinned.
Oh yeah.
Crazy. Rob, go first.
My man. Yeah, we're just starting this. And I'm like, I don't even know what to say, but I have something to say. Like, in our chatting before we went on, obviously we have a lot in common with being both, you do DJing, me in stereos, and knowing how unhealthy that lifestyle. I want to touch on, was there an interest in any of that, like strongman sport or like powerlifting of that before? Or did you just randomly, when you were doing your media company, get into the filming and that was kind of the gig you had from it? Or were you interested in that world?
That's a very good question. So this actually relates to why my testosterone levels were so low in the first place. When I was 17 is when I went to college because I went early, and because I have a late birthday and I started early. So I went to college, and my first training partner at the time ever, his name is Max Boudreau, who is like 3rd place world's strongest man in 2021. So, and he was my first training partner, right? So like at that, I already started very like lifting very intensely, and it was like with purpose, and we would stay up at night watching World's Strongest Men and like bodybuilding shows, and like that was our life, right? So I was definitely into it before, but then it like what happened is I was around like 18 and a half ish, and I like tried my first set of anabolics where I was taking like Olympia-sized dosages of shit, like if I've never told these numbers online, I probably will eventually, but it's like it was in the grams per week, weekly, right? So I didn't know it back then, but then because I looked pretty good, but I only did that for about 2 months, and then my pituitary gland fried, and I stopped producing testosterone naturally.
Yeah.
So I was into it before, and then because of how I started and how intense it was, I always sort of like learned to dream big in that sense,
Yeah. Okay. That ties a piece in there. listening to your story, and you kind of preface to it like there are a lot of components to it, and it is like as you were telling that, like we've had a lot of guests on here, and I was just I feel like I maybe say this every, but it's just like we just always have cool people on here. I'm like, oh my gosh. So then like
Yeah.
Miami is that you went to Miami? Or
Boca
Boca
Raton.
Raton,
Well,
you said.
yeah.
Yeah, Boca Raton. And that I imagine was like that was for the DJing, right?
Yeah, that was like purely for teaching.
Yeah, okay, perfect. For just piecing this story together, man.
Yeah.
Incredible. So, with all that being said, like if you're comfortable to still, if we can, we both have this in common, and I think it would be very interesting to talk about before we get into like the whole journey and stuff, but like the excess life of being an entertainer is something I can definitely commiserate with you with. And again, it almost took my life in excess, and fitness fucking saved my life and continues to every single day, which is why I will always be involved in this forever and believe in it so much. If you feel comfortable, can you share maybe what your experience was like in that industry and just how polar opposite of it is, like how we live now?
It was getting bad. Like it was getting really bad towards the end. I think like we all sort of like get into it at first with a little bit of alcohol here and there, and then and then it gets to a point where you're doing every show, especially when you start like getting some notoriety, and then you get writers from promoters. So for people that don't know what a writer is, essentially like a guest, like a wish list of like, hey, if I'm
Yeah,
gonna perform on this, it's on your contract. You need to give me X, Y, Z items, whether it be food, alcohol, party favors,
etc.
etc. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
And then so as you start getting writers, like you go from like one bottle of Grey Goose to six over time, and then next thing you know, you ask for other stuff, and it gets bad really
Oh
quickly.
yeah.
And so yeah, that's where it was.
Yeah, man. Well, it is just awesome. Anytime I meet someone that was had that struggled with that stuff in the past and now is living good, it just really motivates me, man. So from one brother to another in that world, like congrats, man. Seriously. And
You
Bryson, I'll
too,
let
bro. Man, you got it
thanks,
together
man.
too.
I try. It,
You
man, like,
escaped.
and anybody listening struggling with it, I will say, like, relapse was the biggest part of my recovery. And if, like, it is just part of the journey for anyone that's, like, trying to get on a kick or get off a kick and then you relapse. It just always is a little bit dark before the big breakthrough comes through. But it's just so rad to hear fitness saved another person, man. It's just awesome. Bryce, I'm gonna let you talk now.
Yeah, no, we'll just kind of jump into the fitness stuff, man. Like I kind of want to just see like what the beginning looked like for you, like when you first were getting into it, and then like even around that time that you announced you wanted to do a bodybuilding show, like what your life looked like, scheduling and everything. I think it's gonna be cool to dive into that.
Like prior to when I started, or like
Yeah,
as I started type of
kind
area.
of like that transition period between
Yeah.
like okay, well, I don't want to do media anymore. I don't think this is for me. And then that strongman transition to wanting to do a bodybuilding show, and that like holy shit, I'm gonna compete moment.
Yeah. Well, it's like I think we can all agree here. Like nobody gets fat over like the period of like a week or 1 year. It takes a long time. Same thing with any unhealthy behavior. It's just it grows, and it's the same with my business. Where my business, like when I first started, it started very, very slow, and then I landed some very big clients, and like I did the entire Bacardi like catalog launch for Canada for like 3 years in a row. And like because for me like that was easy and it was good for me and I knew what I was doing. And I think after like but I started losing the passion for it and everything kind of went to shit. So as that happened, it was like I lost the passion for making like that professional content for other brands, and I started just playing video games to like fill my days. So like right before I started the journey, I was playing Escape from Tarkov or League of Legends for like 11 to like 13, 14 hours a day, give or take. And like I would like land a client here and there. And it was easy for me to land clients. I was just never making the effort to because my work was really good. Like I shot for F1 for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
But yeah, so I started like losing that passion. And then I realized that every time I had done, because I've been uploading to YouTube for 7 years, but I didn't have an audience. So I was like, wait, what if I did this for myself? So again, a lot of people know this one, but I wrote like an entire 11-page document about how I was going to make this work and how I was going to turn this into a career. And it was essentially like a pitch deck for my parents. And this is the part that nobody fucking seems to understand. Because like even yesterday, I fucking literally on my phone. So like, I don't know if you guys saw my post yesterday, but it was like exposing my haters.
I
And I just
saw it.
like
Yeah, yeah,
put
yeah.
their
Sick.
faces.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I I literally, okay, so this is a comment that was said, is like, because like everybody was commenting about like, oh, if I took steroids, I could do that too, right? So it's like, stop saying it's steroids. I would say I could look like that too if I had supportive parents that let me quit my job for a year, live with them, and they buy all my food, and I just get to work out all day.
Oh my
And that
God.
was, but that was the opinion that people had about me. That like that my parents paid for everything and I wasn't doing fuck all day except going to the gym, right? But what they don't know is that I had an entire business plan, I had an entire content strategy, and like an entire plan of how I was going to start earning money, not through people but through companies at first, to not exploit my followers, and that was like the whole point. Just to start generating income to then eventually be able, and then like as my transformation would keep going, then I would eventually like try to pick up a coaching client, which ended up happening with Josh, who's now like 160 pounds down. And right, and it's just like all of these things happened, and people think it was random, but
Yeah.
none of it was. Like I had my entire strategy for day 7 of losing 100 pounds until XYZ follows me. Like that was fucking written on a piece of paper like a month before. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just want to follow up something with that. Again, I totally get it, man. Like the people just see that little piece on the internet, and like the little comments they put on it. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately. It takes a certain kind of personality, but it doesn't take a happy person. No one who's fulfilled in life and like like having the best day ever is like, oh fuck this dude, let's light him up online. Like no, we don't think that way. You know, when you're a kid,
I'm
you know,
fucking
like
trying to do that shit, bro.
dude. When I was like a young kid, I played Counter-Strike and I said some crazy shit on there. But I was a kid. I didn't know, man.
When we die and we get to the gate and the big man pulls their fucking log of chat, we are fucked.
Oh my God, dude. For me, like skateboarding.com
for real.
chats in like the 90s, man. Like using words I had no idea, but yeah,
Dude,
for
COD
sure.
lobbies.
But-
Lobbies.
The
Oh my
most
god.
racist shit.
Oh,
But they
man,
don't they don't see though. They don't
Brutal.
see what it took, man. And I can tell within 10 seconds of talking to you, like you're a very intelligent person, man. You're a very interesting man. Like it's super super cool to be chatting to you. When our band got big, we had been sleeping on floors. I dropped out of grade 12 for it. I was 17, and I toured like a little punk rock kid playing like screaming music to 0 people. We played a burrito restaurant in Albuquerque to the people eating, and we were like emoed up screaming at them while they're eating, mad. So like when we got big, I was like, man, like okay, finally we have paid our dues, and I was already like 23, so 5 years of that. But to the public eye, it was like, oh, these assholes got together in Edmonton, did a reality show, and then have some stupid pop song take over. And same kind of thing. There wasn't as many platforms to receive the hate back then, but it came in, and it affected me so bad, and I didn't understand, and I had no emotional tools in the toolkit. And I guess my question is, what did that feel like? How did that affect you? How did you learn to sift through it? And what's that like on a day-to-day basis?
That's a good question. So the first Will Tennyson video was very good. The reaction was fantastic, and like that was my first time where I got exposed to a very large, like online platform essentially. People like half the comments said I was batshit crazy, half the comments said I was awesome, and I was like, sweet, that's cool. But they said it was batshit crazy because they couldn't understand how hard my routine was, which is fine, and that I understood. I was like, I'm aiming to be like David Goggins, not like fucking Joe next door, right? Like,
Hell yeah.
okay, cool,
Yeah.
different
We
goals.
love Goggins.
But then the second Will Tennyson video happened, and that was the first time where I experienced hate at that level. I mean, like, if you go read the comments in that second Will Tennyson video, holy shit! Like, there's fucking death threats in there. Like, it's the most random shit.
How do you get that worked up on something you're seeing online from someone who's like turning their life around to death threat them?
Yeah.
Like,
so,
you look like the asshole, you know, like, go away.
And it took me, like, it was like, so when that happened, because like, and I spent like that day, I spent about 10 hours literally just like reading the comments, and bro, that hurts. That hurt. And then like it's fun because like when that happened at first, like my little brother was like, bro, you fucked up by doing all that, because like showing all the peptides, and that's what it was all about, right? It was just about the peptides because people thought that it was gear. So like my little brother was like, bro, you kind of fucked yourself there. And my dad was like he was like, sick, you might have just ruined your entire career over like one video. And like internally I was just like you guys might be right, but at the same time there was like this little part of me, because like I was always withholding online a lot about who I was, because I knew that it wasn't relatable. Because like I'm a hardcore motherfucker. Like, dude,
Yeah.
I don't know many people that could like stay on a treadmill for 5 hours at an incline of 15 at a speed of 3, and just like even if you feel like you're gonna die, you keep going. Like I don't know many people that
Bro.
can.
Yeah.
So that being said, it was just very much like it took me like once I clicked and I realized that the people like you never like people never like punch down. They usually try like they'll usually try to pull you down. And once I understood that, because I had showed that video to like all those retards, like sorry, all those idiots.
It's my understanding that word
That's
is
okay.
coming back a bit. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, bro, we talked about the COD lobbies, bro.
Yeah, we're not canceling. You're not getting canceled over there. We're good.
I'll stand up for you, buddy. Don't worry.
If I didn't get canceled over that fucking shit, like I'm good. So like, if all of those idiots like said that, and then a bunch of like pro bodybuilders, like Olympic athletes and like high caliber athletes saw that same content and then said to me like, dude, this is incredible, I love this, keep pushing. Like that sort of like almost transitioned me from like I'm no longer a regular person, and I'm becoming exactly who I aspired to be in the first place. That was my first time that I saw myself as like finding some success. And then like that mental mind switch flipped everything. I stopped giving a shit about what I posted online. My content started doing better. I stopped caring about what people said, so I wasn't so bogged down all the time, and I started posting more. And that created this vicious wheel where I went from 30,000 followers to now I'm at 170 in like 6 months, right?
Yeah,
and like,
bro.
so when that happened, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Like, learn to realize that people online are just armchair quarterbacks that it's like that try to live vicariously through others, and when they don't agree with something, they try to make themselves heard because it's the only like output that they have.
Yeah, I was told when we were first coming up by someone that was a lot bigger than us in the music industry, with a very recognizable name, that when that stuff starts showing up, you know you've made it. And I wish I had heard that sooner, because
Yes.
I spent nights in the message boards reading about everything that was wrong with me and had finally been given and I remember calling back home. Yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
the craziest thing is we were nominated for a couple of Junos in 2010, and the Junos were in Newfoundland that year. I feel like I say this every pod. I'm from North Edmonton, so like I didn't really know what was up in like the fashion world, you know. And I wore suspenders with a belt, which apparently is just a complete faux pas, man. And like it got insane. I'm like, how did this get you so my fashion nightmare get you so riled up that you would say literally like not death threats, but shit only designed to make me feel like shit. And then it sucked, man. It sucked. So it's incredible to hear you kind of laugh through it and your take through it. But you're right. Nobody punches down. Like no one having a good day, fulfilled in life, says I'm gonna go fuck someone up online. No, and then if you you know in the world of like influencers and stuff, maybe that's like your shtick and stuff. And like I could argue both sides all day, man. But again, I feel like every time I'm gonna be talking to you on this, I'm gonna be just keep saying like, man, great fucking take, man, great take. So when that's happening, let's say current day, how much do you receive of that now? How much hate are you getting?
That's funny. I feel like ever since I started trolling and like rage baiting, like because I'm not gonna lie, I do it a lot. Like about like 30% of my content now is rage bait, and I do that like very systematically, where I'll have like a mixture of wholesome content, a mixture of like essentially like coaching content, because obviously that's now my main business, so that's portrayed through my social media. So like between the coaching and then the wholesome, sprinkle a little bit of rage bait for the idiots on there, because like when I get a post that I get a lot of people talking shit about me, like internally now, I'm like, yes, because I know that post is gonna do good.
Oh yeah, dude, you're so right. You're so right, because those are views, those are clicks, man. Those are comments. Can you give us an example of some of that rage bait?
Oh, okay. Okay. This one specifically, this one example is not. It was not intended. Okay. I'm lying. Why am I lying? I knew what the impact was.
We can be truthful here, man. Okay,
you're good.
This is a safe space.
I feel seen in this, dude. This is awesome.
Okay, why am I lying? Just call himself out.
So, okay, I knew for a fact what this reaction was going to be due to the historical data around this person and what they were posting and the kind of reactions they were getting. Now that I've said that, did you guys hear the Chloe Hart story?
I don't think so.
Fill us
Okay.
in.
Okay. So Chloe Hart is this girl who was very inspired by me, actually, and she was in my DMs very fucking early on, and she had said to me,
Yes,
"Dude, I love what you're doing. This is the coolest thing." And I'm like,
she's training with fuck, what's her name? Is it? I know it's Noah something.
Noah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with Noah.
Yeah, because I know who coaches her.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, I know who you're talking about.
So for
Yes.
Rob, so this Chloe girl is this girl who she was inspired by my I'm gonna do a bodybuilding show, and she's like, fuck it, I'm gonna do one too.
Yeah,
Like, sick, good for you. So then, I stumbled. Like somebody had sent me a reel of this girl, and I was like, oh, this is in Calgary. What the fuck? And then I look at it, and it's just like this girl who's like posing, and like obviously she's not like fucking like bikini stage ready, but she's posing correctly, and like that's all it is. It's just a video of her in a hallway just doing the bikini pose. I'm like, oh, sick. I'm like, okay, cool. Like that's what I was doing. Like,
yeah.
and then I saw the comments, like 1.7 million views on that video. I was like, oh fuck, because knowing my algorithm, I know what's gonna be in there.
Yeah.
So I opened the comments, and it's just fucking vile pieces of shit talking trash, and I'm like, ugh, I feel for this girl. Instantly, I messaged her. I was like, yo, I was like, hey, I live in Calgary too. There's a gym right next to me. It's called The Realm. Come over and we'll shoot a video, and I'm gonna tell these people to shut the fuck up. And she's
So
like,
dope.
oh, you reached out to me? Crazy. I love your stuff. Like I was like, yeah. Just come over to The Realm. Let's do this. Like fuck these guys. Right? So we get there, and then we film this video, and I open up with like, listen here, you opinionated fuckwads, and then I just start trashing on them for being idiots.
Dude.
And then so technically that was rage bait because I knew that if I was aggressive at them, they would be more aggressive towards me, which obviously worked. And Greg Doucette ended up making a video on it. I got gooped for that.
I was just about to say Greg Doucette did a video on that. Yeah.
And Goop made a video like disagreeing with me and how she shouldn't be on stage and all that stuff, and then that created this whole like spider web of fucking people making reels telling me that I'm a piece of shit, that I'm like,
I just shared you around more.
and they're all saying that I'm stealing her money, I'm doing that, I'm getting thousands of followers from that post. I'm like, I was like, what the fuck? It was fucking crazy. And then she did the show, and she got like Tanner's Choice Award, which is like some sort of like almost like a participation one of some sort. But who cares? She loved it. She loved the experience. And guess what? Wait till tomorrow. I'm gonna make another post about her.
Yeah.
So like So
Dude,
I totally forgot what the question was. Oh yeah, how do I deal with it?
Yeah.
I deal with it by not giving a fuck. It's that simple.
Was it always that way though?
No.
Yeah.
After that mindset shift, and I learned how to play the social media game, that's when I stopped caring.
what changed for you within that? Because I feel like that could be a cool piece to talk on. Because I feel like people so often get paralyzed with that, and they fall into this whole like it's like the idea of having just everything in your drafts, and like, oh, eventually I'll post this, right? Eventually I'll post this. Eventually, but then it just accumulates, and before you know it, you just never post it because you're just like, it's actually not that good, blah 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 blah, whatever. So how did you get to that point where you had that shift, and you're like, you know what? I don't care.
Two things in my life drove to that. One was a Ryan Trahan video. Ryan, do you guys know who that is? Ryan Trahan, he's a very big YouTuber.
What's the last name?
Ryan Trahan.
Trahan.
He did like the whole series on how
that's like doubling my fiance's last name.
Oh yeah, he's like doubling this dollar bill like continuously until he like got all the way up to a fucking boat. It was crazy, like a nice boat.
Sick, yeah.
So he said in one of his videos, like, cause sometimes I'll work so hard on a single video, and then I'll post it. That's it. And then it'll like do very bad, and all of a sudden, like 5 years later, that video's at like 10 million views, and I just didn't know about it, and it generated me like tens of thousands of dollars. Right. So that was one thing in my head where it was like the content is like a data bank that will eventually do good. And I have some of my really early videos from even when I used to do fucking videography videos on my YouTube that are doing decent now because of my new content. It's like, oh, crazy.
Yeah. Dude, I was listening to, I'm so sorry to cut you off. But we were chatting about this week too, Bryce. I think it was Chris Williamson that said, all these videos he had released years ago, it did nothing. Once the big ones popped off, everybody went back to that. So that's a
Exactly.
great little piece for any people that are feeling that or scared of that, is like, you're getting no views, man. Like,
They're like the
you're
origin videos.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's like when I found a band I liked back in the day, I was gonna listen to every shitty demo they ever put out from like their high school band.
Yeah,
And it's just like,
yeah.
The
so it's
burrito
like,
store ones.
yeah, exactly. So, oh my God, we ruined everyone's dinner that night. But there
So
might
funny.
be a nice little sound clip here for the people and the creators out there that are very inspired by your story, right? That are like if you're getting no views and stuff, don't worry. Like yeah,
If you're not getting views, good.
yeah, sick.
You know why?
Okay, tell
Because
us.
if you're not getting views, bro, that was like the most like Section 8 apartment housing I've ever seen. Okay.
Okay, for those people that
God.
are listening,
Joke of
the
the
smoke
day.
detector beeped, and I had to go nonchalantly turn it off while Simon was talking. Anyways, man,
Unannounced.
continue, please.
Unannounced.
Yeah, so if you're not getting views, good. Because I'm sorry, if you're not getting views and you make another video, good. Because that means that you have to try harder next time. You have to figure out why you didn't get any views. And the second you start getting 2 or 3 views, figure out how long they stayed there. And you can analyze your video. When did you fuck up? And then by overanalyzing everything is the only way you're ever going to generate good content and get views. So if you're not getting views today, good. Because that means that you have a long fucking time ahead of you to master it. If you go viral off the bat, that sucks. Because that means that now you have to fight to keep those people there.
Yeah.
And that's scarier.
That is something I never thought about, that just hit me so profoundly, in the sense of, in the artist, going back to the entertainment industry here, our first song was our biggest hit of all time, by far. And every day of my life since then has been trying to get to that place.
Getting back
And-
to it. Getting back.
Yeah.
It's
And
like meth. You're chasing the dragon. Like,
Dude, you are. And
you know?
we used to have, shout out to Carly Rae Jepsen. She was really tight with our band. And she used to open for us before Call Me Maybe happened. And Call Me Maybe happened, and she's been
You're
trying to
opening
get
for
back
her.
there. Oh yeah. Oh, we wouldn't even be in the same conversation anymore. It's just crazy to even think about, right? But and I can't say enough great things about her, but I always think about that. And it's the same in the social media world, right? It's like, you're a big hit right off the bat. Well, there's your standard, man. And this is going to sound crazy, but I remember we were in meetings right back in the day, and I think it was 50 Cent or yeah, I think 50 Cent. He's like, there's nothing better than this. Enjoy that rise up. Because once you're there, there's only place but down. And then that's a whole nother mindset we can get into someday. But I just keep reiterating, like, your story is just so fascinating, man. It's cueing so many things I just want to talk about, that I feel like I'm just having a natural conversation with you. It's great.
Well, I think we're just gonna have to do a second one of these, because I have a lot of people that have experienced stuff like that, like Brian Shaw, the strongman
Yeah.
channel. Like, he had a video go mega viral, or very early on, and then again it was the whole concept of like, how do we replicate this? And imagine being in that space where like all you're trying to do for the next few years is replicate something that already happened, instead of like trying to achieve something new.
Yeah.
That's a shitty place to be. So that's why, like, I had, I think, like 8,000 followers, maybe 6 when I first started my journey. By the Will Tennyson video, I had like 12, and then I hit like, I think 30 like 2 months later. But by then, I already knew what I was doing. I already knew how to like make more videos, and I knew what my recipe was, so I could keep people there. And that's why, like, if you look on like Social Blade at my following, I'm usually averaging like 300 to 500 new followers a day, and I've never had a negative day since I started.
That's awesome, man. That's
Right?
so sick. I want to dig in a little deeper to some of the darker nights on this journey, if I may. I know for a lot of people listening, and I know for myself when I'm consuming content, I like to hear people that have kind of, faced their demons or survived those dark nights of the soul. And along this journey, this incredible journey you have, the highs, lows, successes, what were some of those dark nights like, if you feel comfortable sharing, and what got you out of them?
To be honest, like, at the start there wasn't many, because I was just so entrenched in there, and there was progress every day. Like, I hit my first plateau like probably like 100, like I was like 98 pounds down. It's when I was having trouble get that 2 pounds off, and then I just water cut it. And I was like,
Yeah,
cool,
dude,
whatever,
water cut.
you know.
Yeah, classic.
But other than that, there was like before the first show, there was one night, only one that was bad, and it was I felt like okay, so I had a talk with like just like a mentor of mine, Ben Bukulski, and
Love Deepak.
yeah, and he was like I was proud of myself. I was so proud of myself and like how far that I come and stuff. And then like I sent him my progress stuff, and he's like, "You have so much more in you. Like you have like another like fucking 40 pounds to cut." And I thought I only had like 10, and I felt defeated by that because it was almost just like oh my god, this mountain is so much fucking taller than I thought it was gonna be. You know, kind of like you thought you think you're almost at the top of Everest and you just reached fucking first base camp. Like that's what it felt like. And then so that day I had an extra, like well, I guess it was like that night I had like an extra rice cake and 60 grams of chicken that I shouldn't have had, and that was the first time in the entire journey that I cheated on my diet. First time.
Wow.
And rice cake and chicken, dude.
Yeah, it was one rice
Which
cake
we
and
like
60 grams of
beg
chicken.
people to eat.
But
Man.
that to me, bro, that was a horrendous experience. I was in bed that night with the girlfriend Taylor, and I'm really sad, and I'm like, and I kind of get a grip on my emotions, and then like I just start crying, and it was like really fucked up. And it was just this moment of like I feel like I'm failing myself. I feel like I'm failing you. I feel like I'm failing everybody because I wasn't where I wanted to be. And then she just looks at me and she's like, "I know you have more in you." Bald.
Yeah. Oh, there we go, man. That's awesome.
Like
Shout out
10
Taylor.
minutes later, keep in mind, it's fucking midnight at this point. 10 minutes later, I'm on the treadmill for 2 hours. I'm crying the entire time. And then I recorded a video like on my phone that night, right after finishing that cardio, and I posted it raw on YouTube the next day. And that was like my highest performing video of all time so far. And I was like, what the fuck?
Isn't that interesting, man? Isn't that
Yeah, right.
interesting? Just that
Yeah.
pure emotion, you know? Then of course people can sense that. That's
And
cool.
then so that's the first bad night. I had 2 other bad nights after that, and that was my entire journey. I only had 3 bad nights my entire journey. It was really good. So
Tell us the other ones, man. Yeah.
The second bad night was the night I won Summer Shredding Toronto. It was one of the worst days because like I felt like I had just given everything, and then I knew how much harder I was gonna have to dig.
Okay.
Because I knew what I wanted to do for the championships, and I knew it was not going to be fucking easy, and I had to be perfect, and like I couldn't fuck up, and it was going to be insane. Because like at Toronto, I looked like reasonably like okay kind of shit, and then by the time that the championships come, like I hold my own against the bodybuilders, and I was like, what the fuck, right? Like that doesn't make sense. So I knew that was going to be a tough challenge, but the worst night of them all. So the whole journey was 455 days. Like from like August 6th to November 2nd. The worst day of my life was the day 456.
Okay.
The day after summer shredding. And I didn't really understand why. Like at first, right? But it was weird. It was like that entire day. I think it happened like 8 times where I would just stand there and then I would just start crying. But I didn't know why. And then Taylor's with me like the whole time, so she's confused and she doesn't know what the fuck's happening. But she was just like the perfect, just like she would just hug me and not say anything. It was because that was the first time I realized I did like my biggest mistake that I could have ever done, and it was I tied my identity to a goal.
Profound.
And when I had lost that goal because it was over, I lost my identity. So like, who the fuck am I today? I don't have to do my cardio. I don't have to eat. I don't have to train. I don't have to eat. I don't have to measure. I don't have to eat. I don't have to sleep. I don't have to eat. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then and we were at like this championship like party like that day, but I was like a fucking ghost. I was a shell, and it's like I was barely talking to people, and I was just like, and everybody's like, congratulations. I'm like, thank you. And it was the weirdest fucking thing. And for about 3 days after that, I just kept crying for like randomly.
So I was actually going to ask when you were talking about it too. I was like, it almost sounds like you got to the proverbial outcome that you probably like made up to be this huge thing in your mind. And then once you finally like accomplish said thing, you're like, oh, it's done. So going through that, like, what did you do next? How did you kind of get yourself out of that and through that? Because I feel like that could be
It spiraled.
challenging for a lot of people. Yeah.
Straight up spiraled. Like, so the issue is that, like, mentally, I was in a bad place right there, and then not long after, I entered a worse place because my kidney stopped like working for about 3 days. I stopped peeing for 3 full days, but I was drinking a lot of water because you're coming from a show, you're dehydrated as fucking. Water's the best goddamn thing on the planet, right? I gained about 50 pounds in 3 days.
Okay.
And I edema all over my arms, my legs, even my neck and face were getting puffy. So I went to the hospital, of course.
Yeah.
And then I had to like get the whole treatment. So I went from like, not only did I just lose my identity, but now I look like shit in the weeks in a week span.
Yeah.
So
how did you go about finding your identity and finding yourself again?
that took 3 months.
Talk us through it.
Yeah, tell us about that process.
So it was just okay. So like literally like, so it was from November 2nd until January 6th. And that's when like that's
this year.
Like yeah,
Yeah.
that just happened. So from November till then, it was like, you know, going through Christmas and stuff, and I was kind of just eating like, I never ate like shit, but I ate too much of the good stuff, and I just like, but I let myself what I thought was healing by just sort of taking a break, which like, and I saw some like old features of myself kind of coming back, and I was like, no, fuck that. You know. And so on January 6th is when Nippard announced his 90-day challenge, whatever, his big macro factor thing.
Yeah,
and like
I saw that.
I never had interest in doing that, like the whole like challenge of it, but it was more the fact of like, I just need to fucking set something and just like have a date and just go for it, and I'll figure it out as I go. At least fucking start doing something. And
Momentum.
that's what got me out of it. It was like,
Okay.
I started day one and I got right back on, and I was perfect for 3 months. You know.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Dude, if I may, going back to when you put your identity attached to a goal, that is something a lot of people, I feel, don't think about. I think with the content I'm consuming now, I hear a lot of people talk about this, and I can relate to it as well. And it seems to be that kind of what maybe the middle way is the identity of the pursuit, right? Like the pursuit always seems to be better. And I remember when you're a kid and you hear stuff like attitude is everything, all these stupid things, I didn't give a shit, right? But I get older and I'm like, oh my God, they were telling me the keys to the castle back then, right? And one of the ones I loved was success is not a destination, it's a journey. And when you attach it to that whole thing and it changes, you will. And we see this in the entertainment industry all the time. When it's like, or Bryce has made comments like, you know, without my training cert, who am I? You know, and these are important questions to ask. And I just thought that was so interesting when you said that so many people don't think about that. And it's such a helpful piece of information that, like, hell yeah, get those goals and they will feel awesome, but it is just another step. And like, you're basically like, when I'm setting goals now, it is to impress myself. And that's really the whole thing at the end of the day, and showing myself that I can do what I say I'm going to do. And It used to be like, no, today sucks, but when I have this, that's going to be it. No, then I get there and I'm like, I'm more miserable than it was. And like my mental health was the worst it ever was when I was the most famous I'd ever been in my life. And I was like, cool, this worked out.
This is fun.
Yeah, man.
I never want this.
Yeah, and then so it's just really cool to hear, like, you know, the ability to be like, oh my God, and like, dude, like, I know it's a different time from when I was growing up and stuff, but it's just rad to hear big, strong dudes talking about crying their emotions out, man. And I can't give you enough credit for that. I'm a big advocate of that shit, man. Because like, without getting in touch with my emotions, I would not be here on this pod with you guys, man. So it's really, really cool to hear. I have so many things I want to know, dude.
Keep going. Fair enough, man.
You know what, man? Just keep going. Keep telling me, like, let's get you right up to today. Like,
okay,
the whole thing, man.
So, okay, you know what? Well, we're gonna enter a whole new discussion then, because this is when this is when I said something that I thought the internet was gonna hate me for, but they're all just like, "Fuck yeah!" And only 3 people were like, "You're an idiot." I was like, "Oh, that works for me. That's a good ratio." So, I guess like so through like that whole like sort of coming back and back into like the swing of training and whatever and such. I like back when I was again training back with Max in college, like I always told myself like bodybuilding is sick, and I know like, I put on muscle by looking in the general direction of a fucking weight rack. Like it's stupid. So I was like, fuck, what if I were to go pro one day? Like that could be something. That could be cool. But it was always sort of on the back burner. But then I thought like like I can never afford it though. Like yeah, I don't care how much money I'm making right now. Nobody's got fucking 50K for a tummy tuck and gyno surgery and all this other shit. Like whatever. But then so my men's health article got released, and the best, probably like top 3 if not the best gynecomastia surgeon in the States sees it. And he writes a comment on it like, this is amazing work. It's so rare to see a commitment like this. Congratulations. Just something like that, right? And I, in my typical like day 7 of until this person follows me, I just shot my shot. And I was like, I think my comment was something along the lines of like, because I looked at his page, results were fucking impeccable. And I was like, oh, like, yeah, thank you. It was such an amazing journey. I think the only thing that I would need to really put a close on it all is if I got a little bit of help from you. Right. And then he answers back with, hey, we'd love to have a conversation. I'm like, what the fuck? So get in contact with them. And then, well, as of like a little 10 days ago now, I have I guess I'll show you guys what's under the sports bra.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
So as of just last week, I am.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So that's a thing. But circling back to it, because I already knew that the surgery was going to happen about like a month and a half ago, and then I kind of came to the conclusion where like I know what my identity is now. Like my identity wasn't summer shredding. My identity was my incredible fucking ability to pursue a goal like a fucking dog with a toy and just grind for no goddamn reason because I love it. So I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna put like this one, which is really good, and this other thing that I'm really good at, and we're just gonna try to become a pro bodybuilder. And but essentially, well, by announcing that also, like we all know nowadays that the sport is not very attainable at a pro high level without the use of enhancements. So that was also a video sort of like aborting that for the first time, and the reaction was very positive. I was like, all right then, cool, fuck it, because I knew that I would never be able to afford the surgery, and I can't go pro without the surgery. So now we're already in talks about getting the tummy tuck done, and once that's done, I'm gonna look like a fucking unit. Right?
So what are the plans for you like now going forward? When's your next plan for your next show? All that stuff. Do you have one?
Did you not hear the start of our conversation about my 11-page plan? Bro, I got this shit mapped out.
I need you to email that to us, man. I need to see that outline.
I don't know. I've never sent that out to anybody. I've been asked by a lot of people.
I'm just joking, man. I just think that's super cool. But like, I just want to quickly, before we get to Bryce's question, if I may, just because there's something I'm dying to know. And where did you find the ability to power through this relentlessly? Like, Goggins transformed himself into Goggins. What were you into growing up that you
I was always like that. I've always been this.
That was my question. Yeah, man. Like, has this always been something you've like had this attribute you had?
You guys know Guitar Hero 3, Through the Fire and the Flames?
Man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Through the Fire and the Flames. So
Dragon Force, yeah.
I didn't have friends growing up all that much, and I lived out in the country. So I learned to beat Through the Fire and the Flames on Expert on 97% with the television off.
Holy shit, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, I tried to learn that song for real.
I'm trying to think about how dude.
I was feeling bad about my guitar playing in stereos, which is like
I couldn't even do it on hard with the TV
Dude,
on.
And I still remember the finger movements to this day.
That's
like,
so sick, man. I think about Dragon Force once a month, and I'm so happy this is how I thought about it too. I remember being like, okay, well, I'm gonna feel better about this because my guitar playing is getting made fun of, so I'm gonna learn how to play this crazy thing that like literally it takes a virtuoso to do. And I dragged it into, I think, like Pro Tools at the time, the guitar tracks, and I slowed it down to like 15 BPM. And I still couldn't get the sweeping, man. So this is so sick, dude. Okay, that's so unexpected, that story, but I'm
Yeah.
so happy I asked, man.
Yeah. So like I've always been that person. Like I did a like was it like a 68 video edited, scripted, filmed like a course on videography for beginners in like 3 weeks.
Oh, such a
I've
beauty, man.
always been that person. It's just like
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was like, what I enjoyed grinding. And once you enjoy grinding on something, it doesn't matter what it is, you will find success. It is that simple. It's
So on that then, for someone who's like at home being like, cool, all these guys sound rad, they figured it out, blah blah blah, but I just sitting here feeling like shit, maybe my testosterone's low, I can't get the motivation, but I know what I need to do. What are something you can say to that person that's trying to find that initial momentum?
I would say go to transcendcompany.com, get a blood test, use code Goliath, and figure out what the fuck is wrong with you. Because,
Perfect.
like,
Perfect.
either it's like it can be your hormones, it can be just life situations. Sometimes you just have to knock yourself in the teeth a little bit and realize that you're just a lazy piece of shit. And once you come to that conclusion, things change.
Awesome,
They
man.
cannot not change.
Awesome, dude. And
Yeah.
I'm sorry I cut over Bryce's question there, so I'll let you guys get back to that there.
No, you're good. I actually think it's a good place to wrap it up, honestly, because like I think we should talk about the like whole lifestyle component that was like prep for the actual show itself. But I think that could be a great second podcast that we do where we talk more about that stuff and even what you're doing going forward. So I think this is a great place to wrap it up, man.
Yeah, we'll need a part two on this for sure.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
I
I'm
need
in.
to yeah, man. I need to tell you about my time. I was like, oh, like Stereos is doing pretty good, so I'll become DJ Robbie C. First, that Pauly D was killing it at the time, man. And like the only thing I know that I freaking suck at and that could not get better was DJing. I sucked. I got booed off stage. I sucked. And
No.
oh yeah. Bro, like it was bad. And I was given great opportunities at clubs that real DJs would fight to just because it was a
Yeah.
Stereos after party. And then like, oh man, it was bad. And my partner's like a sick DJ, and I'm just like, I just have nothing but respect, man. I love it. But yeah, man, we like this is not enough time to like really
Yeah,
take in.
go
This
over
is-
everything.
we need you back, man.
I will be back. No, this was an absolute blast. I mean, like, I've been on a few of these podcasts where like the people don't really understand the craziness that it can really lead to. And I mean, just you guys are obviously both like very well versed in fitness, so you've seen how crazy it can get, and obviously the fact that you know about the whole the mentality aspect of like success, or like whether it be behind music or anything else, it's always the same fucking story where it takes 10 years to become an overnight success, right?
Yeah, dude,
So
perfect.
I think
What a clip.
once you can talk with somebody that understands that, the entire conversation changes, and that's why
Yeah.
like, today was fantastic.
Yeah, man,
Dude.
we appreciate
Yeah.
that. And like it's just I just like knowing there's dudes like you out there, man. It makes me happy. And I think like sometimes I wonder like am I like is like my passion is just like I want to become a superhero, right? And I think a lot of that comes from just not knowing like growing up in the 90s and not knowing as a kid that like the things I was feeling might not have been my identity, but maybe because things were happening around me I shouldn't have seen, or like I had some stuff off inside me, and it's just a different time, and we can talk about it, and we can pursue these horizons, if you will. And sometimes I wonder though, is this just my addiction shifting over to now self-help, which like totally is like harm reduction in a sense. But what I'm getting at is I could talk about this all day, and I just love talking to other people that are interested in this as well, which is why we do this podcast, man. And I just think you're such a great example of it. And I'm just like so pumped to see. I'm gonna go deep dive into your past.
I
God, this is like
Yeah, man.
every time somebody says some kind like that kind of shit, I always get worried because I always think like there's probably some comments on my Facebook
my
from
God,
like
bro.
20 years ago that could get me canceled today.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And like at the same time, like people, I think it's gotten a little bit better in that world of understanding
course.
of like,
Well,
don't
yeah,
hold
like
me to something I
we
said when I was
we
like
were
8.
idiots, we were kids, and like it's just like Steve Carell said. Steve Carell said it best. When they asked him to do a reboot of The Office, he straight up refused because that he said that with the current temperament of society, the show could not perform well due to the nature of the jokes being towards people not Sorry, about people, not towards people.
Yeah.
Right.
No, dude, I just wanted
yeah.
to, I just wanted to say quickly that I was actually, I think I started following you from that first Will Tenney video. Because I obviously like I binge Will Tenney's content, and I remember I saw that on there too, and I thought it was just like so cool how you were. Well, first of all, how he went out there to like talk with you, and how he like did that whole day with you. But I thought it was just such a surreal thing that you were committing that much of your life to fitness, and from that day, I was like, this guy's gonna blow the fuck up. Because for anybody that is that driven and like in a sense might be seen as like delusional, but has that much faith in themselves, they're gonna be successful. There is like no way you can't be successful. And seeing you now, like it's great, dude. That's why when you won Summer Training, I was like, dude, this is so well earned, so well deserved.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I find that for anybody to find any real success, and this applies to anything, you have to be delusional. If you are not delusional, you are not aiming high enough. It's that simple.
Absolutely, man. What
I agree.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Good shit, boys. This was fun. Let's do it again.
For people that want to follow you, let's fire off all your socials. Let's do. I know you mentioned YouTube, Instagram, all that stuff.
Yeah. So Instagram is Goliath_GG. YouTube is Simon Goliath Lafontant. And then what else? I mean, like those are kind of the main platforms. Because in Canada, TikTok is bullshit, and you can't monetize it anyways. So I don't really TikTok, and Facebook is also trash. So those are my two platforms.
Yeah, we're all in the same picture.
But if you're interested in my coaching, then that would be www.goliathfitness.app. It's actually me coaching. I don't use AI, and I'm not a piece of shit that uses weird V-shred science. I make you work for it, and motherfucker, guess what? I get results because of it.
Let's go.
Dude, thank you so much. This was an absolute pleasure.
Of course, I feel like that's weird plugging that when you're also a coach. You're
That's okay.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
That's okay.
All right,
Thanks,
boys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.